Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. It's Shannon. Because you don't know how it's going to turn out. It's Shannon.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hi, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. How you doing there, Dr. Vanessa? How are you?
Ooh, I am so great and blessed and just waiting for the weather to break.
Well, tonight we are being joined by two special mothers that lost their sons, Miss Valerie Bell, her son Sean Bell, and Miss Gwen Carr, Eric Garner's mother. And I'm just so grateful that they took the time to come on and talk to us to share their story tonight. And we want to thank everybody for joining us and coming on. So we want to bring them on, Dr. Vanessa.
Absolutely. And like Lottie said, many of you may be familiar with the high-profile cases involving the NYPD. But our guest tonight, Miss Valerie Bell's journey, is a testament to resilience, advocacy, and the transformative power of faith. Born and raised in New York City, Miss Bell's passion for education earned her a bachelor's degree in science in elementary education with a specialization in early childhood education from New York College in Queens, New York. Tragedy struck the Bell's family on November 25th, 2006, when Mrs. Bell's son, Sean, was killed by undercover New York City police officers in a devastating incident that involved 50 bullets on his wedding day. This event propelled Miss Bell from a private sphere of motherhood into the public eye as an advocate against police brutality, a role she has embraced with grace and fortitude, largely attributing her strength to her faith in Jesus Christ. Our other guest tonight is Miss Gwen Carr, mother, advocate, and community leader. Miss Gwen Carr has earned nationwide recognition as the mother of the late Eric Garner, an African-American man murdered by the New York City Police Department in July of 2014. Caught on camera, his death played an integral role in the ongoing conversation about police brutality in the United States. Ms. Carr has now taken a city in which she raised her family to task by advocating for full servicing of justice, not only of her own, but the families of police brutality at the hands of the NYPD. As a conduit to the healing of others, the nonprofit organization ERIC, Eliminating Racism and Equality, collectively has been established. Let's welcome our guest tonight to the show.
Hello there, Miss Bell. Miss Carr, how are you?
Welcome.
Oh, I'm fine.
Thank you so much
for
coming on. And we want to hear from you because we all know what happened to your two sons and things. And like we said with the title, what was life like after losing a child? So what has it been like for you since losing your son? Either one of you can start.
Life has been up and down, a roller coaster in the beginning, but I seem to be on level timing and level living because of when it happened. I knew I had to take care of my son and my daughter. I have two other children, now 31 and 45. But at the time, my daughter was 14 and my oldest son was 27. And as you know, Sean left us two beautiful girls. At that time, one was 4 years old and 4 months. And I knew that I had to be in my right mind. So I kept moving and moving and moving, going to work right after it happened, taking care of the family. So life right now, I'm okay. I still don't forget my son. I have my Sean moments. When I start crying, I call them my Sean moments because I think about what he would have been if he was still living. He would have been a baseball player or electrician. Those are the two things that he loved to do the most.
Right.
Absolutely.
Miss Carr.
Yes. I've been moving forward since my son's death because after my son's death, it just put me in a dark place. And then I had to just listen to the Holy Spirit and says, what am I going to do? Am I just going to lay in this bed and just mourn for the rest of my life? Or am I going to get up and turn my mourning into a movement? And that's what I decided to do, because even though my son was gone, there were other lives that we had to save. We had to save our grandchildren, the unborn. So that's why I push forward. I have my daughter, she's always there by my side and push, I push her, she pushed me, and we support each other. And I've gone to Albany myself, and other New York mothers like Valerie has been there, and we demanded that Governor Cuomo sign bills, sign executive order for a special prosecutor. We got that done, which is now law. So, and then there were other bills that we are on, and we were just guided by people who guided our footsteps, who helped us along this path, because this is a journey that no one really wants to be a part of. But once you become a part of it, you're just going to drop off by the wayside, or you're just going to keep moving forward. And this is what we've done. We have kept moving forward.
Absolutely. I have not lost a child, nevertheless, at the hands of another, and nevertheless, the NYPD. It is not easy. I'm a retired detective. I was active during both of your son's cases, and it's not easy to see it, whether I don this uniform or not. I commend you as women, women of color, to continue to be advocate and have the voice and be the voice for your sons. They don't always get it right. Okay, we know there are institutional systems in place, institutional racism systems, structural systems that are in place that are working how they're designed to work. And if you don't continue the advocacy, we will never be able to promote change and continue to fight for our children. So I just want to commend you ladies coming thus forward and to continue to fight for to have the voice for your children.
Thank you.
And what I like about, I wanted to say to the both of you, what I like about the both of you is that you have joined together to fight the cause together. And plus Mrs. Fulton too, and the other Mrs. Diallo, all of the mothers, joining forces together to continue to fight the cause. But it still upsets me even when it happens. It's like the attitude after it happened, when they try to justify what they do, with Eric Garner over some cigarettes, some loose cigarettes. You are bothering someone over loose cigarettes and have the person to lose their life over some cigarettes, when you could have been out there getting some people that's robbing someone or doing something to someone else. You want to mess with someone for a little or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So this is what kills me, is when these things happen, it end up being for nothing. Like Sean is coming out from partying because he's getting married that next day, that morning, or whatever. And you bothering the people coming out, getting in their car, not identifying yourself. And then when they try to justify stuff, it doesn't make any sense. And then when they get off, that's the worst part, is when they get off.
Yes.
That is true.
It's sad, but it's just not the NYPD. Everybody that takes part, that touches that case. And just like in Eric's case, you had paramedics, you had other people, other individuals that kind of contribute to that, because they didn't do their job of what they had an oath to do as a health professional. So it's everyone contribute.
No, I understand the paramedics that do what they're supposed to do. I'm talking about before we even get to the paramedics. If I'm standing on the corner minding my business, even though if I might have had a cigarette or whatever, that's some minor stuff. That's nothing major.
No, I understand what you're saying.
It's nothing major. So why are you bothering people?
Right, and it should not have escalated to that extent. In neither case, right. I don't justify it in no way. And trust me, I have kids, and it was one thing when my kids came into the country. The first thing I said to them is that if you ever stop by police, just let them know, do X, Y, Z here and there, because I fear for my own kids, and it wasn't because I donned that uniform that makes me different. It makes my kids separate, make my kids not a potential interaction with them. So I have to worry about it on my own as well. But we feel you. I felt the cases. in the cases that have been, any cases involved NYPD and people of color, is always hits home. It always hits home.
Yeah.
So Miss Bells, how did I keep saying hi, but you know what I mean? It's like when you got that call that morning when you know you're supposed to be getting ready to go to the wedding, and you get this call about your son.
Well, the first thing I thought, because I know they were out partying, and when the sister called me and said Sean was in an accident, I thought a car accident because he was the driver. And when I end up going to the hospital, and that's the hospital that I worked in for 20 years, and when they led me to that room, and I knew that room was the room where they tell you that your loved one has passed away. So I fell to my knees and crying and calling out to the Lord and to my mother, because she had already gone on to be with the Lord, to help my son. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I was annoyed or numbed, knowing that he was getting married that day, I went to the beauty parlor. And people probably thought I was crazy. Went to the beauty parlor. After that, still numbed. Went to my church. And then my bishop, the late Bishop Williams from Community Church of Christ, asked me to pray. We all know how to pray, but that prayer that day was something that was powerful, that came out of me, that I know now. The thing that keeps me going, I didn't say before God forgive me, is my faith, my family, and my fellowship. And the fellowship with my Community Church of Christ people, that's a family from another family, from a biological family. That's my family.
You have to have that extra family. And Miss Carr, when they called you and you found out it was senseless over a cigarette.
Well, what happened was I was called by someone. I was working that day, and I was on the train because I'm a former train operator for New York City Transit. And when I got to the other end and turned my phone on, everybody just seems like they were calling me. And the calls that I answered, nobody had firsthand information. But by them telling me that Eric had some kind of interaction with the police made me very anxious. And I had told my husband to pick me up at, when I got back to Coney Island, because my shift was from Coney Island to Astoria. And so I started to just leave and go right then to find out what had happened to Eric. But then I thought about it. Well, don't just get out in the middle of the street trying to get home. Take the train back, to Coney Island. That's close to your home, So I did that. And when my husband was there to meet me after I called him, and we went downstairs, giving you the short version of it, we went downstairs and I was asking what happened to Eric. Did he hear anything? He was saying, no, we're going to go home. We're going to find out what happened, which he already knew. But after I kept talking and badgering him, he had to just break down and tell me that Eric was no longer with us. And
hold it right there, Miss Carr. Hold it. So we got to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. We'll be right back.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
What's more dangerous? A man who isn't afraid of death, or one who's found everything to live for? I asked him if he was proud of me. He emphatically said yes, as he laid his pecan-colored head on my chest, and I went through my mind 1,000 times to figure out what that could possibly mean, and every single example ended in motivation for me. So you may not be afraid to die, but I'm more afraid to let them down. And I found something to live for, which is a dangerous motive forever fueled. See, your thoughts may be involuntary, but my actions are very calculated. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. My sons ain't raised by no coward, and they won't be one either. If this be the measure of a man, the yardstick gonna need way more meters. I take it too far, so they never come up short, because I found everything to live for.
And we're back with our two special guests today, Miss Gwen Carr and Miss Valerie Bell. And Miss Carr, sorry about that. You was telling us when you was taking the train back to Coney Island, what you was
Yes, when I
feeling.
got back to the station and my husband met me and we went downstairs and I was just asking him why was everybody calling and had he heard anything? And he said he was telling me no at first, but then after I kept on after him, he had to break down and tell me that Eric was no longer with us. And at that point, I think I just lost it. Uh, he had made sure I was in the car seat and he had put the child lock on before, he told me. And when he told me, it seems like I just wanted to kick the windows out, get out that car and run to Staten Island because I thought maybe I could help him. Even though he told me he was no longer with me, I could help him if I could get to Staten Island at that moment.
Right, because you're still in disbelief. You still have
Yes.
that disbelief that it's a possibility, it's not true when they talking to you and telling you, because that's how you feel at that time. Like, am I you are you I'm not hearing what you're telling me. You're not hearing what the person
Right.
is telling you.
Right. So we know
But
that Eric and Sean had children, right? So how do we begin to tell the children, and what do you do to keep their memories alive?
Sean, like I said, when it happened, the oldest was 4 years old and the baby was 5 months. So she really didn't know much about him at that time. But growing up over the years, we have pictures of them with their father. We talk about the things that he used to, was doing when he was alive. So that's how we keep them remembering their father. And they still remember the father, because I never forget when Jada was a baby, she said, my father used to always kiss me like this on my cheek. So she remembered even when she was 4 years old. And as today, she's 21 years old and the baby is 17.
okay.
Wow.
Do remember the father, whatever their mother tells them and whatever we have to tell them.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Ms. Carr?
Yeah, well, all of my grandchildren, all of Eric's children knew him because they were all, the three of them were grown and one was still like 14 years old. But they knew their father. And Erica, the oldest one, she was such an advocate for her father. She lost her also. 3 years later, we lost Erica. And I think it was because of a broken heart. She fought so hard to get justice for her father. And she wasn't going to quit until it happened. And she was very adamant about that. And it was so sad that we had to lose her the way that we lost her at 27 years old.
Wow.
And it's a hard situation. And the other children, just lately, his youngest son, who is now 24 years old, just had a heart transplant. He had heart trouble, and last August he had to have a heart transplant, which I prayed to God so hard that he wouldn't take him. And he's doing fine right now, thank God.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Yes.
Absolutely.
So now what now? I mean, you have accomplished so much. You have fought for the justice. You have got some justice. What now do you want to accomplish? I mean, I know the journey continues. I know the fight is going to continue. So what is it now your next steps are?
Wow. Well, you've seen my bio, what I've done over the years. I'm kind of laid back now because of the situation with my daughter losing her fiance to COVID. So I'm like raising two boys and a girl again. But I try my best to get out to help. Organization that I worked with, Justice Committee, they call me every now and then to, still continue to work with them. And last year, it was a bill that was put together called How Many Stops Act. So I worked on that, but whenever I get a call to go and be a support of other family members, I do my best to get out.
That's good. That's good. That's Carl.
Yes. Well, I try to support other mothers who are in the same boat as I am. We come together. I know I have the ERIC Initiative Foundation, where we bring mothers together from all over the nation and we love on them, we embrace them, we empower them, because all mothers are not at the same state, at the same stage.
Level.
And so we just try to talk about the positivity of what their child was when they were here, rather than the tragedy. Valerie knows, she's been to many of my events, and I go when she calls me to go to do a program or something with her and other mothers. In fact, I just came back from Milwaukee yesterday with another mother, Maria Hamilton, who lost her son 10 years ago too, just like it's going to be the 10th year anniversary for Eric. She actually lost her son before Eric. She lost him in April. I lost Eric in July. And so we do that, and then we try to support the youth. We try to show them that it's more to the streets than guns and gangs. That they could be a positive individual in this society. And the only way we could do that is to meet them where they are. We can't always say, you stop doing this, you bad, you did. No, let's talk to them and see what's making them do things.
Exactly.
Children too at one point.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And things are a little different today when youth do have a voice at the table. And sometimes us as older adults, we tend to be grandfathered in the way things, either how we've known it to be or how we feel it should be. But I wanted to add that how do we begin to, Lottie and I did a show more than 20 years ago at the time where Eric Adams was my platoon lieutenant. With What Do You Do When Stopped by Police? And as we continue to advocate with policy changes, executive orders, how do we begin to train and teach our own children how to behave and act when they encounter with police officers? I know sometimes we talk about deferred movements here and there, and although we would say, well, why do we have to act different? And I understand that, but in the climax of what goes on today, we still need to make our kids aware of what these interactors can be, hopefully to prevent a tragic interaction. So how do we begin to teach our children how to respond with police encounters?
Well, like Shannon had said, she would tell her daughter, be quiet. But when the officer confronts you, we do have the right to ask, why are you stopping me? And it's the way you talk to them. Like my husband said, to get respect, you have to give respect.
Absolutely.
So you have to teach our children the manner, be respectful. Yes, sir. Why are you stopping me? And hopefully that police officer is that kind of police officer that has a heart, that will listen. There's a lot of them who are angry and upset for what reasons. You don't know, maybe the way they were brought up. They could have been bullied, and then they're going to take it out on us. But it's the respect that you have to teach and talk to your children about.
Yeah.
Ms. Carr, you have any anything to add?
It's just tragic. It's just tragic that we have to have a different conversation with our children than the white counterparts do. But we have to have that conversation to save their life. This is what I tell them. We want you to walk away from that stop alive, because some police, they have their own agenda. So
that's right.
You can comply and complain later, but just try to walk away from that stop. Try to do everything that they tell you. And then after you're let go, or even if they take you to the precinct, just try to get in touch with me so I can come and I can, take it up. But walk away from that stop alive if you can. Sometimes you can't.
Right. Absolutely.
The attitude of the police
officer. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say before we close that everyone who dons this uniform is not for the uniform. And not all police officers are bad. You may have circumstances, unfortunately, like your particular cases with high profile makes the front news. A good cop that does things is on page 50 that nobody reads. So there are a lot of individual cops that don this uniform. It's for the community, and it will continue the cultural competency training and these things. And so there's a lot of things. I just don't want people to just give up hope that the police department just doing all these things that makes them a front page spectacle. That doesn't define the department.
Right.
So now that we're having we're upcoming on the holiday, we're coming up on Mother's Day holiday. So I know that has to be tough, not having your child around for Mother's Day, and not even just not having your child around, it's just not having your mother too around, because when we lose our mothers, like I say, I don't know which one is the worst, because like I said, I didn't lose a child, but I know losing the mother, I felt like the same pain that you was talking about losing your son, and it's like a pain that's
That's all right.
I know, Lottie. I know.
Yeah. Like I said, losing a child and a family member it happens unexpectedly, which is hurting. Like, you have to just continue to think of the memories that they left you. That's how I continue, the memories that he left me. My son loved mac and cheese. I make that for Thanksgiving. He loves sweet potato pies. I still make it for his children. So those memories definitely would keep you going. Cry and think of, oh, Sean, you did that, and start laughing. I used to always call Sean up every day. Ma, why you keep calling me? You need to be home, I told him. He said, Ma, do what you do best. I said, what's that? He said, keep on praying. And that's what I did. Even though that happened to him, I know he's shining down on me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the memories keeps us going.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yes, like she says, I have to think about the good things about Eric. About I was his confidant. I was the one that he would call up and ask questions about things, even though he was grown. And I think about the silly things he did and how he used to always be a jokester, and that's how to move forward. Because and then that Mother's Day is coming. I think of every Mother's Day he bought something. I like. He would buy me a jean outfit. He would buy me a necklace. He would send me the what they call it, where they make the fruit, the flowers and stuff with the fruit.
Right.
He would do all those kind of things. So I miss that. But then I smile and I just say, if Eric was here, I know I would be getting some type of gift.
Yes. Yep.
Well, we're gonna conclude this portion of the program, because we have to end it here. But we're gonna come back for our after show for a few minutes and continue the conversation. But we want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on for this part of the show. And we want to thank everybody, for watching. Remember, we're on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live, every Saturday at 5:30 on Break and 2:30 on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. So thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Would you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Faith Art Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. Keeping it real.
Hi, and thank you for joining us for our after show. I hope you enjoyed the first part of our show. I apologize for coming so emotional.
That's okay.
But
That's okay.
It's,
Human.
it's like when I lost my mother, I was like a walking zombie for a year. And things don't happen. Things don't come to you right away.
No, it
when
doesn't.
it happens, it comes to you maybe about a year later that you figure out, and God shows you a sign of what happened, because you didn't see it at that time when it happened. And then we question God as to why did it happen, and you just don't see it then, and then He'll just let you know why it happened and why it happened the way that it happened and everything. So when these things happen and you lose that person, you are saying why. We're always asking the question why, when we shouldn't be asking the question why, but we do. But then we have to remember the good things about the
Yep.
person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to start remembering what my mother would tell me. Like she'd always say, "Stop worrying about me. You need to get your own life together.
Mm.
Pay attention to yourself. I've lived my life already," you know, like that. So you try to teach your kids, you know, to do the right thing and treat people the right way and everything,
Mm-hmm.
so that you know God will bless you, you know. And I know that's true, because when you do treat people good,
Mm-hmm.
God does bless you. He
Yes.
will give you plenty of blessing. So when we was talking about you know, talking to our children, you know, about, you know, how to carry themselves and how to act and stuff like that. But how do you, what was some of the things, I know you, Miss Bell, you know, with the prayer, your family members and things like that, but we know inside it's still hard. It's still hard. So what would how, what would you say, like Miss Carr, you was talking about the women that you work with and the children also that you work with. I think it was the children you was working with, you said, or just the
Yes,
mothers?
try to mentor them and try to show them that there's more to life than guns and gangs.
Hmm.
And
That was the
show them
children of the
yourself.
mothers you work with, or is this a set, another set
No, a
of
different set of children, like children from
mhm,
the community.
neighborhood, from the
Mhm.
neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
And that's
Now,
important.
what are you finding when you talk to the young people like that? Because we just did a workshop with the Department of Corrections
Mhm.
about the children getting in these gangs, and the parents
What-
don't even know they belong to these gangs with all these signals and signs and things out there. When you talk to the young people, what are they saying to you that the reason they feel that it's okay for them to be out there doing this type of
Well,
stuff?
when you talk to them, see, you can't like call yourself discipline them right then. Oh, you know, you in a gang, you shouldn't be in the. No, you
Mhm,
can't like approach them like that.
mhm,
um, you have to show them from the beginning that there's some self-worth in there, there's some worthiness in them, you know.
mhm.
And even with the kids that wear their pants down below their butt and
Mm-hmm.
things, it's there's to me a way to approach them. Like I've
Right.
seen a young man with his pants down, I just go up to him and I would say, you know, you such a nice looking young man.
Oh, you are so right, Miss Carr. I say the same thing to them. Same thing you just said.
Uh-huh. I said, and you know, you should pull your pants up. You would look so. I said, you would look so, you know, manly with your pants up on your waist. And they'll look at me and smile, you know, sometime, and you know, and they'll pull them up at the time. Not saying they're not going to let them back down, but they'll pull them up
Exactly.
at that point, you know. So it's your approach, and you got to approach them in their world instead of in yours.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely. We spoke about that earlier. It's a lot of things that when these kids branch out of their home, there's a lot of hidden trauma that may be
Mhm.
within the individual kids. And we talk about mental health and here and there, and rather people go through, and the stigmas that's in the community. So it's a lot of trauma that they sometimes these kids are just reaching out. They're crying
Yes.
for help.
Hmm.
They're crying
Yeah.
for help. And sometimes if you're not in that space, so identify what these mechanisms are, you don't know really how to help them.
Yeah.
But
That
like you
is
Hmm.
said, meeting them where they are is key, because
mhm.
it's better to have them, because that's how they will open up. It's better for them to have a voice at the table than to talk with than to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that what we're thinking about doing is inviting the parents, you know, and talking to the parents, because sometimes it's the stigma comes from the parent. Sometimes
Yes.
Exactly.
there's things wrong in the home
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma.
that's not
Exactly.
being addressed. And if we
Hmm.
could have the child and the parent both come in and, you know, do programs with the both of them,
Mm-hmm.
then we may can have a better understanding of why a child is acting out.
Right.
Hmm.
Some of these
That,
parents don't
that's
even know that.
Like
that's
when.
excellent, Miss Carr. The thing about that is when we tried to do stuff like that also, even when I was at the Board of Ed and in the community. But you know what? That's a good idea. And if you work on something like that or whatever, I would be more than happy to help work on that with you. But
Mhm.
when you sometimes speak to the kids, right? Like I don't know what it is. Like sometimes, a lot of time, the parent, they don't want you to say anything to the kid. Like if your child is doing something wrong and I want to discipline him, you should be happy that I'm trying to discipline the kid. Right. You can't raise these kids by yourself. You can't watch them 24/7.
That's true.
I think sometimes oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sometimes these parents are afraid of their kids. So there's a lot of things that you don't really know what's going on. Like we talking about that home trauma here and there. You don't really know. A lot of these parents are fear. It may be easier for others to say, okay, how can you be afraid of your kids? But these are just like battered women. You know, you don't know what they're going through behind closed doors.
Right. And I think
like we have, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We have a center. We have a center in my neighborhood called Family Enrichment Center, where they just opened it up. They open it up in Staten Island, Far Rockaway, Brooklyn. I don't know what areas that they're in, but it's run through the ACS, where we open it up to do events for the community. And a lot of the students that were out of school this last week came there, and they like playing on the video games. We allow them to do that because I'm a part of the Parent Coordinating Advisory Board. We allow them to do that, but we have conversations with them. And they talk back with us. But like you said, you have to meet them at their level. And like we said at the center, you don't know what's going on in their home. So that's why a lot of them come over there to get away from the house. So one young man, I was there today, and he said, "There's too many children in my house." He's the oldest. I said, "Well, how many sisters and brothers you have?" He said he has 5 brothers and 3 sisters. And he's in the 10th grade. And I said, wow, he needed to get away because there was too many children in the house. So like you said, you don't know what's going on in their household. So that's why it's good to have these centers for them to come to speak to other adults.
Absolutely. That's what happened to, go ahead, Ms. Carr.
No, I said that is so true, because if you could get a sense of what's really going on inside the child, then you could like bring it out and you could probably help with it. And even with the parents, sometimes the parents don't, I don't want them in my business. I don't want, but also that's a way to approach them. And sometimes you could just invite the parents, we just want a parent and the child to come, and we want to just have a session. You know, we don't have to go straight into having a session. Maybe we just fix some food, or we just want, you know, enjoy yourself and whatnot. And then, you know, you just ease into the conversation. And sometimes it's easy if they see what type of person you are, then they will open up to you. I've had strangers on the train just open. I don't know why. They start telling me their story, and they just said,
because you have that people approach, like people approach you. Somebody else will be standing there, they'll come walk up and talk to you, and they're not talking to the other person. And you be like, well, why you walk? You know what I'm saying? Because you're approachable. And that's why people walk up and talk to you. But see, with the parent situation, what I'm saying, and I'm a firm believer, kids want discipline. They want you to discipline them. Because you can see the way they act and look at another kid who is being disciplined. They want to be disciplined. And so people don't want to say nothing to the kids. You can't find out what's going on with them unless you talk to them.
So true.
But they're too afraid to talk to the kids.
Yes.
But you know, another thing with that, to add to that, Lottie, a lot of kids need a safe space.
Yes.
Because sometimes all the spaces and adults that they interact is not always a safe space. Look at COVID, when the kids reverted to home learning. Maybe maybe school was that outlet, that child outlet to get out of that abusive situation. You don't know what's going on, and they need a safe space. And sometimes it's hard for children, especially depending on the age, for them to kind of trust adults, because it may be adult that may be that.
Well, you can't find out anything unless you talk to them.
I know, I understand, but I'm saying
you gotta talk to the kids.
But I'm saying just like saying, when you're meeting kids where they are, they're more approachable. They're more reluctant to talk to you. But if you bring kids at an aggressive manner, authoritative manner, like the abuser that may be where they're coming from, they're not going to.
No, that's true.
Not in no abusive manner, not in no aggressive manner.
But you don't know that. So the adults need to learn how to meet kids where they are.
Right. That's so true. I think
they
that's
need to learn that.
True. And even if you had I'm sorry. If you had a group, say, of 8 kids, I'm just saying, this is what I think would work. If you had a group of 8 kids and you start talking to them and you tell them, I just want each one of you to write down something you like and something you dislike about your home. Don't put your name on it. Tell them, don't put your name on it.
Have a dialogue.
Just put something that you like and what you dislike. So now when they put their name and they put it all in the basket and you pull it out and you read it, because nobody knows who's, you're talking about.
Coming from, right.
Absolutely.
Who it's coming from. And then you could talk on the subject because they don't know who put that in the basket, And you can help. And maybe later on that kid who wrote that might come up to you and say, well, I like what you said, and I might would want you to help me further.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, look, we're not going to save the world, I guess, and we won't save everybody or whatever. But I say
try and do our best.
Exactly. I say this before we have to go. I think if we could get back to the village, because when we had the village where everybody could help you with your children and stuff, it was much better. Because like I say, you can't watch your children 24/7. And if we were all trustworthy enough to trust each other, our neighbors and stuff, that to help take care of the kids and help take care of each other, we would be much better off than what we are now. It's just that people don't want to separate themselves. They don't want you saying anything to them. They don't want you saying anything to the children. And then when something happened, then they get angry with you and say, oh, well, you were standing there looking and you didn't say anything. So now, exactly, you didn't say anything to help out or whatever. Well, you didn't want me to say nothing to your kid. You didn't want me to discipline your kid.
Yeah, but before we could take care of the village, we need to take care of home. I mean,
the home is part of the village. The home is part of the village.
Yeah, but before you can venture out, you need to be able to have a tight-knit home. Home needs to be solid.
Now, they're not no solid home. I don't know
what I mean. You know what I mean? Things that you would do in the village, outside of in the community, you need to be able to set those boundaries and guidelines at home. You can't chastise someone else's child if your child is out of control. That's what I mean.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going to be working together with each other, so that way your child don't be out of control. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem now. We're not working with the kids to keep them from being out of control. That's what I'm saying. But anyway,
there's always work to be done.
We can do something.
Absolutely.
We all can fight on however we can fight, or we can fight together. If something is going on that you need our assistance with, that we can help out with you doing anything with your advocacy as you continue, please let us know. And, hopefully, you'll be able to attend some of the things that we do as well. So I thank you again for taking the time to come on and talk to us. And we've always been here for you. You didn't know us. We didn't know you. We just see you on TV or whatever.
Now you know. We know you now.
Now we know you now.
That's your phone number and your email address.
Exactly. So please, whatever you're doing, let us know what you're doing. If we can help out, please let me know. We can help out. And Ms. Carr, if you do start something like that with those, because I'm a believer in working with kids, because that's what I did for 36 years. Work with kids. So that's my thing.
We know people for a reason and a season. And this is our season.
So thank you again for joining us, and come back again and talk to us some more. Come back again and talk to us some more. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yes. And I'm so glad that I met you at Better Mag, because by meeting you, now I met Ms. Carr. So God is good. He always knows.
Yes, he is. Put people together for a purpose and a reason.
So thank everybody for staying for our after show. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Dr. Vanessa. Thank you, Kara, our director. So as always, we'll see you again.
All right. God bless.
Yeah. Bye now.